So for the past couple of weeks, I've been thinking about this idea, which today I'm finally going to commit to. And that is, I'm going to ride my bike from Toronto to Montreal. That's about 600 kilometers. And sure, maybe it's not the most impressive feat that anyone has ever accomplished on a bike before. I mean, there are people who cycle around the entire circumference of the planet, for God's sake, and I'm just talking about doing 600 Ks. But for me, this is pretty crazy. For 3 years, I've been getting around on a hybrid bike, a Trek FX3, which is amazing. It does really well in the city. It's pretty good for the kind of one-day adventures. I've been to Niagara Falls a couple of times, which is about 150 kilometers. But I think for an adventure like this, I need to upgrade my bike to something a little more sturdy and reliable. So right now, I'm about to head to a bike shop in Mississauga and see what I can find. And I've decided that along the way, I'm going to record a little video about my adventure. So here it is. And an adventure it certainly was. Hopefully this video will give you a good idea of the scenery, the challenges, the interesting things I saw, and the weird and wonderful stuff that went through my mind along this 5-day adventure. Before I left, I'd planned a rough route of between 100 to 140 kilometers per day, which would see me take overnight stops in Cobourg, Kingston, Brockville, and Cornwall before finally reaching Montreal. But first, I needed that new bike. I went up to Bike Zone on Dundas East in Mississauga and walked away with this beauty. So I just pulled into my home street after riding home on my brand new Marin Nicasio 2. They weren't able to do test rides at the bike shop, so the ride home has actually been my test. And I'm pleased to report it's incredible. This is going to be a great trip to Montreal on this bike. About 2 weeks and a couple more test rides later, I finally got to packing. Well, I've pretty much finished packing my bags and I'm all ready for my big adventure tomorrow. I've chosen the worst possible week to go riding though. According to the weather forecast, it's going to be raining pretty much the whole way. But oh well, it's all part of the challenge. "7:45 Saturday morning, I'm all packed and ready to go. The weather's looking miserable, there's a 100% chance of rain at 12 PM, but whatever, let's do this thing. It took about an hour to cycle out of Toronto City and reach the Waterfront Trail, which is the route I'd take to get me all the way to Montreal. Alright, well I've just turned off the main stretch of Kingston Road, so we're well and truly out of Toronto City and in Scarborough now. Thankfully from here on, it becomes a little more suburban and scenic for at least the next probably 80 kilometers until I have to join our main road again. So thoughts on the ride so far? My bike is really friggin' heavy. And the consequence of that is it's very difficult to push up a hill. I've done that stretch of Kingston Road from Toronto to Scarborough probably 14, 15 times in the past, and this was by far the most difficult push I've done. Also, I got rained on about 3 times during the past 20 kilometers, so the weather is not good at all. But thankfully not bad enough that I had to get my raincoat out. Just stopping here for a minute or two, because it's been raining pretty consistently for about the past 20 minutes. So I'm going to put on my little rain jacket. But while I'm here, take a look at this awesome view. This is what I'm doing the ride for. Well, it's much better with the rain jacket on, but god damn, it's a miserable day. What a disappointment. Well, it's an hour and a half into this ride, just over 30 kilometers, and I'm already thinking about packing it in because it's such shitty, miserable weather. It's pissing down with rain. I'm absolutely drenched. I knew that at some point during the ride, I would get fed up and want to call it quits, but I thought that would happen after 3 or 4 days, not 1 or 2 hours. This is ridiculous. But anyway, the show must go on, and I'm determined to make it to Montreal. All right, well, I'm at Beachfront Park in Pickering. Thankfully, there's been a little bit of respite from the rain in the past 5 to 10 minutes. The only way through this part of the trail is to walk the bike, because there's no asphalt here, and soon to pick up the trail just outside the Pickering nuclear power plant. So yeah, the Pickering nuclear power plant. About a year ago, everybody in the Greater Toronto area got an emergency text message on their phones one morning saying that shit was going down here. People thought there was going to be a meltdown, but actually it just turned out to be a false alarm, which is pretty funny. This is where it all happened. When it's sunny, I love this part of the Waterfront Trail between Pickering and Ajax. As a matter of fact, I'd say it's one of my favourite sections of the entire trail, but today I really wasn't feeling it. I took a food and drink stop at Ajax Waterfront Park and appreciated the dreary view for a few minutes, but I still had a lot of ground to cover, so I continued on my way. A little up the road though, I came across this, the very bright and colourful Ajax rock concert. Considering it's been such a shitty morning of rain, this rock art has really lifted my spirits. Finally, somewhere around the 60-kilometre mark, the sun started to return to the skies, the wildflowers were in bloom, and it was glorious. I really enjoyed this stretch of road. So I just pulled into Oshawa. Found some bleachers by the side of a baseball diamond to chill on for a couple of minutes. I'm about 70 kilometres through the journey for today. There's another 70 or so to go until I get to Cobourg, and I'm definitely confident that I can do that, no problems. I've got a lot of strength, a lot of energy, I'm happy, the sun is out, everything's great in the world. One realisation I did have is that my rain jacket, although very fashionable, is absolutely useless in the rain, so that was a waste of $70. But oh well. Let's take a moment to appreciate the beauty of this modern day infrastructure. So there's a section of the Waterfront Trail I need to go through, which is right there, but they've goddamn gone and closed it for maintenance, so I'm gonna have to find some way to get through somehow. And I realize the only way I'm gonna be able to do this is to unclip all my gear, throw it over the fence, and then lug the bike over as well. So this is kind of bullshit. But again, it's all part of the challenge. Mission accomplished, but really the only other way I could have done it was to go by the side of the highway, and that's just not gonna happen. There's really no reason for this part of the trail to be closed. There's no actual construction happening. I don't understand. They just want to make it difficult for me. And here's the barrier at the other end of the trail. So let's just do what probably hundreds of other people have done already and come through here. It seems as though they've one-upped me. There's no way I can get through this fence here. I can't drop my bike over the side of the bridge because there's too much of a drop. So I'm gonna have to figure something else out. What a pain in the ass. I backtracked a little, did a bit more bush bashing, and somehow made my way onto West Beach Road, which took me to the beautiful Port Darlington, just south of Bowmanville. So I made it to Bowmanville. I've done a ride out here once before, earlier in the year, and this is pretty much the exact spot that I stopped last time before I turned myself around. So basically anywhere east of here is completely new territory for me. This is the part of the adventure that I've really been looking forward to. I made a new friend along the way, just a few kilometres out of Bowmanville. The next couple of hours were pretty scenic and sunny, and I was quite amused to pass this little family of gnomes living in a tree. There were some deer living next door as well. I've just pulled up by this really creepy little pond. Check out how green it is. The rain started up again as I entered farming country, but it was still really nice to pass by these fields. This to me is like perfect scenery. So beautiful. Stopping for a bite to eat somewhere just before Port Hope. Here's my little food box. There's a bunch of protein bars and granola bars, a couple of bananas and some trail mix. I had an apple in there as well, which I've eaten already. So that's what's keeping me nourished along my journey. Well, I just did something really stupid. I just stopped for an ice cream and I opened up my bag to try to find my wallet to pay for the ice cream, but the wallet wasn't there. And I was like, where the hell is my wallet? And thankfully I realized it was right here. I think
I left it there at the last stop about half an hour ago. Oops.
I think a lost wallet would have ended the trip. Finally, I reached my destination.
Well, I just made it to Cobourg and checked into this beautiful little hotel called the Woodlawn Inn, which I highly recommend if anyone ever comes through here. It took me about 7 hours of riding time, 9 hours altogether, and 141 kilometers to get here. I am exhausted, I need a shower, and then I need to go out and get myself a beer and a nice, big, giant, juicy burger. That's going to be my plan for tonight.
I explored a bit of Cobourg in the evening, got a schnitzel in the end, and followed it up with a big breakfast the following morning from the Buttermilk Cafe before embarking on day 2 of my ride. So it's day 2 of this crazy journey, and after the 141 Ks I did yesterday, I was really sore all of last night, but I seem to feel a bit better this morning, so I'm going to be good for my 100 Ks to Picton, which is going to be tonight's stop. So without further ado, let's get on with the show. It was mostly boring for the first hour on these kind of regional roads, and I saw a shirtless guy riding on the wrong side of the road, but I soon came across this spectacular scene by the waterfront. Well, I just pulled in to check out Wicklow Beach along the Waterfront Trail, and I'm really glad I did. This is so beautiful. After making friends with a horse, I stopped briefly by a canal in Brighton and saw the oldest road in Ontario, which, to be honest, wasn't a very interesting road at all. But little did I realise my favourite section of this whole journey was about to come up, the Millennium Trail. So I've just started on the Millennium Trail, which is going to take me pretty deeply into Prince Edward County, and I'm pretty excited about this one because it's looking very green, peaceful, quiet, natural. Pretty excited to see where this leads me. Oh, and I just passed a snake. Holy shit. I just stopped and turned around to see if I can find this snake because I've never seen one before while I've been cycling. There he is. There he is. Wow. I scared him away, but oh well, that was still pretty cool. As an Australian who was used to seeing snakes everywhere in my backyard while I was growing up, I was probably more excited than I should have been to finally see one in the wild in Canada. Anyway, check out some of this gorgeous Millennium Trail scenery. I've always wanted to frolic in a field of grain, and now's my chance. That was so worth it. So I've just stopped for a quick water break, about 32 kilometers along the Millennium Trail. There's another 10 or so to go until I get to Picton. And can I just say that this part of the journey has been absolutely magnificent. I honestly would never have known this existed if I didn't do this journey to Montreal. I think it really just goes to show that there's so much in your own backyard that you don't even know is there until you get out to see it. I can definitely say that today is the day that I fell in love once more with Ontario. I made it to Picton, which might just be one of my favourite small towns in all of Ontario. It was only 3 PM, I'd only done 100 kilometres for the day, and I still felt like I had some steam left in me, so I decided to take a side trip to Sandbanks Provincial Park, which is here on the map, about 18 kilometres back the way I came. Oh, that was so nice just to get in and wash away today's sweat. Wish I could have stayed in there for a lot longer, but my bike's in a pretty precarious position. After making sure nobody had pinched my bike, I returned to Picton, went to the 555 Brewing Company for a pickle pizza, had a delicious ice cream from Slickers, and returned to my hotel to rest for the night. It's nearing the end of day 2 of this crazy ride, and I gotta say, this is one of the best decisions I've made in my life, to embark upon this journey from Toronto to Montreal. Tomorrow I'm up pretty early, and I've got to get the Glenora Ferry to the other side of Prince Edward County, and from there I will probably get lunch at Kingston and hopefully make my way up to Brockville to stay the night there. I think that's going to be around about the same distance, another 130, 140 Ks or so. So we'll see how that goes. But for now, it's good night.
It's 8 a.m. on Monday. Picton has been great, and now it's time to see if I can make it to Brockville. I made it to the Glenora Ferry, and now there's probably half an hour wait to the next one. This certainly makes a nice change from the hours of slogging it uphill. All right, made it off the ferry, and the journey continues. It's a very peaceful stretch of road here. I've only seen about a half a dozen cars in the past 20 minutes. I guess not too many people take the ferry. Just stopped here for a minute by the side of the lake because I want to show you how crystal clear this water is. It's so beautiful. I wish I could go for a swim right now. I've just arrived at Kingston, and the rain over the past half hour has really irritated me. So I decided I'd pull up to the first bar that I saw, which just happens to be PJ Murphy's. I'm gonna have lunch and a beer here, because I deserve it. Well, I waited outside for somebody to serve me, but nobody came, so go fuck yourself, PJ Murphy's, I'm going somewhere else.
And I ended up at Diane's Fish Shack, which was phenomenal. This was the best fish sandwich I've had in my life. Kingston was the halfway point of the trip, and it sure felt good to be coming into the home stretch. There wasn't much excitement on the road coming out of Kingston until I stumbled upon this, just outside Gananoque.
I just noticed by the side of the road there's an abandoned motel. The last time I saw an abandoned motel in Ontario, I was amazed by what I found inside it. So I think I'm gonna be a trespasser and go in to check it out. Well, I've come around the back and it's indeed very abandoned. Let's check it out. I wonder if these are bullet holes. It's probably pretty unwise to go upstairs, considering about 3 of the stairs don't actually exist. But I'm going to attempt this anyway. Hopefully I don't fall through any holes in the floors. Well, I made it. I'm pretty sure it's full of asbestos up here, so I'm going to get out of here right away. I've come down from the upstairs part and I've just seen there's another section of the house down below. So let's go and have an explore through these parts. Seems as though this has been burned out. Oh, toilet seat right there. Oh, Jesus. And finally, there's a little storage shed out here, so let's go take a peek inside. All right, now I'm gonna sanitize the shit out of my hands and get the hell out of here. Well, that was a welcome break from my ride. Man, I love finding abandoned stuff like that along the side of the road. This just brings me life. Am I weird? Yeah, 26. 27. The next stretch of road took me along the Thousand Islands Parkway, which was a picturesque, dedicated bike lane, and presented me with a very unexpected wildlife encounter. And I'm not even talking about these inflatable ducks. Today's my lucky day. I've never seen a porcupine in the wild before, and there's one right there on the side of the Waterfront Trail. My heart is melting right now. He's the most adorable little creature I've seen in my life. Oh my God. Man, that little porcupine and I, we just had a moment. That was really something else. Thankfully, he didn't prick me with his spines. I slowly continued along the Thousand Islands Parkway, found this garden to rest in, and for the first time, I started to feel genuine exhaustion. I couldn't wait to arrive at Brockville. Just pulling into Brockville now. It's been a long day, it's about 6 p.m. I'm absolutely starving. Thankfully tomorrow, Brockville to Cornwall is only about 100 Ks. Today I did close to 140 again. So tomorrow's gonna be a much shorter day. And I'm really looking forward to that. I'm staying at the Travelodge tonight, which is a bit further back up that way on the other side of the 401. I decided to stay the night a little bit outside of the downtown centre tonight, just because it's substantially cheaper than staying downtown. But I still wanted to go downtown just to check the vibe and get a beer at a nice brewery or something. I'm done with my bike for the day. I left it at the hotel room. I love my bike, but I've kind of had enough cycling for today. So I thought to myself, should I call a taxi or something to get downtown? Then I realized it's only 2 kilometers away. I've ridden 450 Ks to get here. God damn it, don't be a pussy, just get out and walk. 2 Ks. So that's what I'm doing.
Brockville was a peaceful city. I really wanted a beer at the Thousand Islands Brewing Co., but they were full for the evening, so I ended up here at Moose Maguire's and took a burger. After dinner, I watched the craziness of the 401 for a while before calling it a night. I must admit, I was a little frustrated with the road conditions on the morning of day 4 of the ride.
I'm 13 kilometers out of Brockville, and this has been my least favorite stretch of road so far. There's no shoulder to ride on. You're literally riding here along the road with all the traffic. The roads out here are in pretty crappy condition in general. It's just pretty unsafe, but thankfully there hasn't been too much traffic. Hopefully it stays that way. I decided today I'm going to stop by a couple of historic sites along the journey, and here I am at the Battle of the Windmill. Back in 1838, this was the site of a battlefield. One side was fighting to liberate Canada of British rule, and the other side was fighting to protect the British rule. Since then, it's been converted into a lighthouse.
I've since learnt that out of the 250 rebels who were part of the attack, 11 of them were executed and 60 of them were sent to Australia as convicts. I had no idea this kind of transportation happened out of Canadian soil. Google Maps told me I could keep coming down this way, but clearly it lied.
Let's go have a look at the Riverside Presbyterian and St. John's United Cemetery.
There's something I find so fascinating about historic cemeteries like this. I love finding gravestones that tell a sad and somber story. Our darling baby, Sean Jeffrey, son of C and J Dodge, May 12th to May 17th, 1972, went to be with Jesus. I walked around the graveyard a little longer and continued on up the trail. I'm in Mariatown right now, which is about 60 kilometers away from where I started this morning in Brockville. And I pulled into this beautiful little park just to take a rest and a bite to eat and a drink of water. And I gotta say, I'm starting to feel pretty physically and mentally exhausted right now. Not to the point where it's agonizing, it's definitely not that bad, but every time I dig into the pedals, my knees really feel like they're in pain. And mentally, I'm not ready for it to be over just yet, but I know that when I reach Montreal tomorrow night, I'm going to have had enough. So there's about another 40 kilometers to go until I get to Cornwall, which will be my stop for tonight, and I'm going to be able to rest for the rest of the afternoon, which will be nice. Oh, and I also want to point out that just behind me, across the other side of the St. Lawrence River, that's the US. It's literally a stone's throw away. Anyone can just swim across, paddle a canoe across, nobody would know. I just find that interesting. My friend Kumlu checked the map between Brockville and Cornwall, and he suggested that I pull in to visit the Altesville train station along the way. It was built between 1866 and 1889, but was then relocated here to Upper Canada Village in the 1950s. It was cool to see some Ontario rail history. I'm not sure I was actually allowed into the station itself, but oh well, I jumped the fence anyway. Now's a good time to talk about the Waterfront Trail, which is the route that I've taken between Toronto to Montreal. Basically, it's 3,000 kilometres worth of multi-use trails that link all the communities across the province from Sault Ste. Marie down to Windsor and all the way across through to Quebec. The great thing about it is that you don't even need a map. You literally just get right onto the trail, follow the signs, and it'll take you exactly where you need to go. For the most part, it's been pretty good. There's been a couple of instances where I followed the sign, but it's taken me through to a dead end or it's taken me the wrong way, but I've just had to turn around and go back and get myself onto the path. It hasn't been that bad. I will say that today, between Brockville to Cornwall, has been my least favorite in terms of overall road conditions. As I mentioned earlier, there's quite a bit of work to do on the shoulders, so Waterfront Trail maintenance people, if you're listening, please get onto that. But aside from that, it's actually been pretty good. I've really enjoyed my time on this trail, and I'd recommend it to anybody who wants to explore more of Ontario, either by bike or on foot. Coming towards the end of day 4, I was feeling major pain through my left knee, and all I wanted to do was sleep. I was well and truly ready to reach Cornwall and my room for the night at the Elect Inn 5. I'm so happy I made it. 103.7 kilometers today, which is a bit shorter than the last couple of days, but man, I need a rest. Oh man, just had a shower and finally got a chance to lay down, and it feels very good. So Strava tells me that over the past 4 days, I've done a total of 538 kilometers, which is just insane. And there's another 130 to go until I get to my destination tomorrow. I'm not looking forward to it. It's gonna be tough out there. I was really struggling there, especially just on the last 20 Ks getting into Cornwall. I think tonight's plan, I was originally gonna go down to Cornwall City to again try to find a brewery or a pub to get something to eat and a nice beer. But I really couldn't be bothered doing that, so I'm just probably going to go across the road. I think there's a Boston Pizza or an East Side Mario or something. So I'll have a meal there, get back here relatively early, get a good night's sleep, and hopefully be up early in the morning tomorrow for the final slog to Montreal. Also, check out my tan. Isn't that ridiculous? I did indeed go to East Side Mario's for some pasta before crashing into my bed like I'd never crashed before. The road's blocked, I can't go on. I got to this section of the Waterfront Trail just outside Cornwall, only to find that the bridge is under construction, so I can't actually get across. Which means I need to deviate maybe 7 or 8 kilometers off the trail to find a different way around. That's kind of annoying. It did annoy me to have to take this detour, but anyway, I kept going and took a brief stop at the Cooper Marsh Conservation Area, which is a nice place to spot some wildlife. I haven't had a coffee yet today, so I've made my first and only Tim Hortons stop along the journey here at South Lancaster. That means there's still 5 hours of this shit to go. I was getting close to the Quebec border, but it was pretty unclear exactly where it was. I thought there was going to be some giant sign in flashing lights saying Quebec, but there was only that small one back there saying, welcome to the green route in French, or something like that. So I'm pretty sure I'm in Quebec now, but I want to stop to find out for sure. Yeah, Google tells me the border is right here. It's a bit of an anticlimax, really. There's a big sign for Ontario, though. Bonjour, je m'appelle Dan. Je fais du vélo de Toronto à Montreal. All right, the actual Quebec sign was about half a kilometre further up the road, so it's official now. I'm in Quebec. I'm 65 kilometers down today. I've pulled up somewhere near, where have I pulled up? Somewhere near Coteau-du-Lac in Quebec. And I'm really sore. I guess I'm about halfway to Montreal, so there's probably another 65 kilometers to go. Along the way, I'm gonna stop quickly in Beaconsfield to visit my friend Hamid, so I'm really looking forward to that. And I should point out as well, for those who don't know, that I have quite a connection with Montreal. I lived there for a year and a half, quite a few years ago. All my team who I work with are actually based in the office in Montreal, and I'm the only person who's based in Toronto, so I rarely get to see them. Normally throughout the year, I would travel to Montreal every 6 weeks or so to spend a couple of days in the office, but obviously due to COVID, I haven't had the chance to do that since February, so it's been about 5 months since I've seen my co-workers. I gotta be honest with you, I'm really looking forward to just having the chance to hang out with a couple of them over the coming couple of days. I miss those guys. So it's gonna be nice. Time to reapply some sunscreen and get a move on. A little further up the trail, I rode past the historic locks of the Soulanges Canal. Completed in 1899, it was abandoned 60 years later after the opening of a different canal. These days, the 23-kilometre channel certainly makes for a great cycling destination. Just found out I took the wrong turn, so I have to go back and try to find the place where I was supposed to turn off at, but it doesn't really matter because it's so freaking scenic that I don't mind taking a little bit of extra time today. I've made it across Ile Perrot,
And now I'm up on the bridge, which is going to take me into the island of Montreal. Still another 35 k's to go until I reach downtown Montreal, but man, it's going to feel good to finally be on the island itself. It's the only place in North America where you're not allowed to turn right on a stoplight.
And here it is, my first view of the home stretch, Beaconsfield, Montreal. I did stop by for a drink and snack with Hamid, then I met with Bruno and Dorval who helped me complete the trip into the city. And there it is. I've never been so happy to see Montreal before in my life. Finally, after 680 kilometers, I made it.
And here it is, the Notre Dame Basilica in the heart of Montreal. I can't believe I rode my bike 680 kilometers to this point right here. I am so freaking exhausted.